due to AI restrictions on content that depicts inherent differences between men and women. The video segment discussing men's tendency to choose immediate gratification has been removed by the AI.
Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about something fascinating, the incredible power of a single personality trait. Seriously, just one trait that researchers have believed for a long time can literally shape the entire course of your life.
So let's just jump right in with a massive question. Can a single trait, something we can measure when you're just a kid, actually predict how healthy, wealthy, and happy you'll be decades down the line? For a very long time, the answer from a lot of researchers was a huge, resounding yes.
And what is that magic trait? It's self-control. Yep, the whole idea was that the ability to delay gratification, to pass on a small reward now for a bigger one later, is one of the most important keys to living a successful life.
So what exactly are we talking about here? Well, trait self-control is basically your ability to hit the brakes on your immediate impulses. It's that inner voice that helps you override the urge to do what feels good right this second, so you can stay on track for a much bigger goal later on.
And the evidence for this seemed absolutely rock solid. A huge part of it came from this landmark study, the Dunedin study, which followed over 1,000 people literally from birth. And the findings were just stunning. They found that kids with lower self-control were, by the time they hit 32, way more likely to have health problems, earn less money, have credit issues, and even get a criminal record. I mean, the connection looked undeniable.
And this wasn't just a one-off finding, The psychology books are just filled with statements like this one, basically cementing this idea that high self-control is this super powerful predictor of a well-adjusted, successful life.
But here's the thing. This incredible ability comes with a built-in conflict, right? It's a trade-off that's at the very heart of being human, that constant battle between what you want right now and what's best for you in the future.
This really nails the central dilemma. If you want that long-term well-being, you pretty much have to sacrifice some immediate pleasure. Saying no to that second slice of pizza, no to that impulse buy online, no to hitting snooze again. It doesn't feel great in the moment. But the promise is that all those little sacrifices add up, building a foundation for a way more satisfying life down the road.
So the theory kind of goes like this. Step 1, you practice self-control. Step 2, that allows you to build up all these crucial resources. You get healthier because you exercise, you're more financially secure because you saved, your relationships are stronger. And all of that, step 3, leads to a higher sense of well-being and just being more satisfied with your life.
And of course, you can't talk about self-control without bringing up the one experiment that seemed to prove this whole idea in the most perfect, vivid way possible, the famous marshmallow test.
But, as you've probably guessed, the simple story we all know about the marshmallow test has a way more complicated reality. So, it's time for a little reality check.
Yeah, what if it's not that simple? What if the ability to stare down a marshmallow and wait for a second one isn't just a pure test of a kid's willpower? What if there's something else going on?
Well, that's exactly what a big study in 2018 wanted to find out. A team of researchers led by Tyler Watts decided to redo the famous marshmallow test, but this time they made a few really important changes.
Okay, so this wasn't just some copy-paste job. First, their sample size was massive, over 900 kids compared to less than 90 in the original. Second, their group of kids was way more diverse, representing all sorts of different family backgrounds. And third, and this is the absolute key, they used statistical tools to control for other things that could affect success, like how much money a kid's family has or their early cognitive skills. And whoa, when you look at their results, it tells a wild story. See that first bar? That's the original finding, a strong link between waiting and doing well in school. The 2018 study found a link too, but it was smaller. But then, look at that third bar. Once they accounted for a child's background and cognitive skills, the predictive power of the marshmallow test just plummeted. It basically disappeared.
So, here's the bottom line. That super strong connection between waiting for a treat as a kid and being successful later in life, it turned out to be way, way weaker than we'd all been led to believe. It wasn't just about raw willpower.
And this leads us to a much newer, more nuanced, and I think a much more empowering way to understand what self-control really is.
So, what's the big takeaway here? Okay, it would be a huge mistake to think self-control doesn't matter. It absolutely does. The big shift in thinking is that it's not some fixed magical trait that you're either born with or you're not.
Instead, it turns out that a child's ability to wait is deeply shaped by the world they grow up in. I mean, think about it.
If you grow up in a chaotic home where promises are always broken, does it really make sense to wait for a second marshmallow that might never even show up? This new research shows that things like your socioeconomic background, your early cognitive skills, and the resources you have at home are incredibly influential.
And you want to hear the most hopeful part of all of this? Even the researchers from that original Dunedin study, the one that showed those strong connections, they completely agree on this point. They say it loud and clear. Self-control can change, and programs designed to teach it actually work.
So the ultimate takeaway, the big idea to really hang on to is this. Self-control isn't your destiny, it's a skill. And just like any other skill, it's something that could be taught, it can be nurtured, and it can be developed over time.
Which leaves us with one last really important question to think about. If self-control isn't just about individual grit, but it's a skill that grows in the right environment, then what's our responsibility as a society to build the kind of homes, schools, and communities that give every single kid the chance for that skill to actually grow?